Vicky, and welcome back to the podcast. Really pleased today to be joined by Dani Louise-Smith. Dani, great to have you here.
Thanks, Matthew. It's great to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to the chat today. And as always, to kick things off, do you want to give people a little bit of info as to exactly what it is that you do and who you work with?
Yes, of course. So I'm Dani. I am the Queen of Business Organisation. I typically work with service-based businesses and coaches in like the holistic field, so holistic or coaches, to get their business organised. We're all about becoming time rich so that we can build a business that works for our lifestyle so that we're not getting overwhelmed and burnt out. So it's all about not essentially working less, but having more freedom, flexibility, all that good stuff that we all desire, I think. Yeah, it's what I'm all about.
Amazing, no, and I think you're right. I think a lot of people start their own business looking for that freedom, flexibility in terms of money and time, and not necessarily about less hours, but as you say, having the flexibility to decide how you spend those hours. But I think is something that people hope for but don't often get, do they, in business?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I think the big struggle for people is their time management, and I work a lot around that because it's been part of my journey, it's been part of like a lot of my clients' journey, and people like in my audience and learning and developing businesses, like time plays a massive part in it.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, how then did you get into doing this in the first place? What led you to coaching and coaching this specifically?
Because I previously ran a business in the creative industry. I'm very creative person, and it was making keepsakes. But it took me 6 years to really get the business off the ground. It was massively frustrating, feast and famine kind of cycles, and I loved it a lot. But in that 6 year, there was like a pivotal moment of learning strategies and systems that just made things more streamlined, simple, easier. And once I did that and people saw what I was doing and how it was working, I guess because I'd seen my journey of
Yeah,
going from nothing to having this thriving business. And I was very open and shared it on social media. And people were reaching out like, because I was sharing strategies in networking groups of like what I was doing to make things easier. And I'm like, oh, you're so organized. Like, can you teach me this or how have you set that up? So I started, just doing it for free, just
yeah,
because it gave me visibility and I loved it. I love helping people. But then someone said to me, Danny, have you thought you should be charging for this? And it
yeah,
just struck the idea and I kind of rolled with it. But at first I was teaching from a space of what I was comfortable with, knowing the creative industry and building that kind of business. So at first I was a creative business coach, but about a year and a half into it, I really recognised how much better I could run a service-based business and the clients I enjoyed working with. I mean, there is a mix sometimes between creativity and services as well, but I came away from the product-based industry and fully went into coaching with services, and it did kind of break my business overnight, but it was one of the best decisions I ever made because actually coming out the other side, it was so worth it. And the impacts for myself and for my clients, it's been brilliant to kind of change things around. But it wasn't without that needing to get organized, needing to look at how I'm actually running the business, my time management, business management, all of that stuff was part of the journey and became what I teach today. To the point that I was in coaching rooms with my coach or mentors and other people, and everyone's like, Danny's the organised one, or Danny's the queen of organisation. So I kind of got given that name by other
yeah,
people. And then I'm just like, then I bought a crown and I said, yeah, I'm going to own it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think that's really good, and I think it's interesting to see that a way a lot of businesses, especially coaching and service-based businesses, do often evolve through kind of getting pulled into those different directions, and I think that's where it can be, more successful as well if you just pay attention and are led by that demand and pay attention to what people are asking you.
Yeah, definitely. I was definitely pulled by it. Like I never, if you would have told me like 10 years ago what I'd be doing today, I would have not believed you. Like, especially with some of the bigger stuff I've done recently, like speaking and being on podcasts, writing a book.
Yeah,
Like some of the stuff I used to be like, it was just unthinkable. Like I'd have been too scared. But obviously confidence has come along the way as I've taken these big scary steps.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned kind of breaking the business down to focus on the service-based business owners. What led you to making that decision and, giving it a go rather than saying, oh no, that's the scary thing, or oh no, actually it's got a short-term negative effect. What gave you the confidence to stick with that to get to a better place that you're now in?
I think because I grew this business as a consultant and coach a lot faster than I grew the creative one. Um, Part of that is because I'd already had so much experience and business knowledge. I'd done my qualifications at that point, so I obviously had more knowledge a lot faster in the second time round.
Yeah,
But also part of it was the clients that I did work with that were creative but also were service-based businesses, especially the holistic therapists. I loved seeing their business succeed because they helped more people. So that ripple effect
yeah,
that it created, I really felt aligned with that. And I just felt kind of it was niggling at me this whole time, but I was ignoring it and ignoring it. And I think when we are set on a path, it will keep niggling at you until you do something about it. And that's definitely what happened for me. So I kind of questioned it, and I spoke with some of my peers in a mastermind that I was in, and I said something just doesn't feel right. Like at that point in time, I'd had amazing success with the coaching business, but clients started naturally drifting away, or I weren't able to sign as many. And I truly believe that was because I wasn't aligned with what I was doing anymore. The
yeah,
moment
yeah,
I switched that up, I mean, it took a few months to rebuild again. And I changed my name on social media, on all my websites, domains, everything, which was a tech nightmare.
yeah,
As we entrepreneurs do it to themselves all the time, don't we? We
yeah, yeah.
rebrand
Make it
and
difficult.
everything. Yeah, it's a lot to do, but it was so worth it because it just up leveled my business. Not overnight, it did take a few months, but within a couple of months, when I'd got all the little bits and bobs all in place, ducks in a row, and my message was clear and it was out there, I started signing clients again. I mean, so a few of them stayed with me actually. One of them's been with me since day one, since they actually launched.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I started signing them again, but they came in thicker and faster than they ever had before. And I truly believe that was because of how passionate I felt this time and how connected to these type of clients I became. And because the biggest thing is, because I was truly doing what I'm naturally good at with being organised, it made a massive impact. So I'm guessing people sensed that, people felt that, recognised that. So I was kind of leading in my strength and my superpower. And I believe that's what made the difference. Because as great as I was as a creative business coach, I didn't have that unique, like you mentioned, that niche, that unique thing. Whereas this
Yeah,
time I
yeah,
did.
yeah. No, I think you're right. I think people can, tell a lot that even kind of subconsciously, if you're not, in alignment or have 100% confidence in what it is that you're doing, I think people definitely sense that, don't they? And then, like you say,
Yeah.
the conversion rates can suffer, the results can suffer. Not that you're not doing a good job, but you're just not reaching that potential that you could be at if things were better aligned.
Yeah, absolutely. Once I leaned into my strength, I think people could see what it was that I could offer them. And so they came to me for that. And then people tell other people word of mouth and stuff, don't they? They're like, if you need someone that needs to get your business organized, then I'm the one. And people spread that around and it has an impact for sure. I know that people I know that have got a specialism in what they do, and because they're great at it, I recommend them as well. And it definitely, I'm not saying you have to niche because there is a big debate out there about it, but it does definitely help because I still do all the many different things. I like to have different hands in different pies and pots, so to speak, within my business. So I'm offering loads of different things, but it's all under the same umbrella, and that's where it get to have fun with it, which was where it becomes more aligned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for people that you're now working with, and for those service-based business owners, what are some of the kind of presenting symptoms, if you like, that they're coming to you with in their business that indicate they've got those kind of problems you can help with?
Often it's quite unfortunate that they're at a point where it's either all or nothing. They're that burnt out, overwhelmed, frustrated that things are not going the way they'd like, or they're not feeling great. So there's kind of two aspects of it. One aspect is maybe they've just not got off to the start that they imagined. So they want to make more money, sign more clients, and they're very frustrated, overwhelmed, not getting the results that they want. So we can obviously work and look at that. But then you've got the other side where they are an established business, they're doing amazing, and I've got a few clients like this at the minute that are booked up with like one-to-one clients, but then their challenge is it's taking up all their time and they're kind of capped at a certain level. So their income's hit a glass ceiling, they need to break through that. And I've been through this in my previous business as well. Because I was making a product, I was capped at how much time I could commit to actually making the physical product. And
Yeah, yeah.
so when I figured out how to break through that, ironically, I closed down not long after to do this business, but it was such a pivotal moment, and I want to help other people achieve that. Because back when I was doing that, the only solution that I reached out to different coaches, mentors online, and was like, what can I do to earn more income? And I just didn't have an answer because it was a product based business.
Mm.
And actually, someone turned around and told me, why not just get a job to surplus your income? Which actually at the time infuriated me because I'd just left my part time job working with the NHS to
Yeah.
run my business full time, because my husband was about to have big surgery and I knew I needed to be home because he wouldn't be able to look after the kids or himself. So at that point, it just wasn't feasible to get a job. And then that advice just kind of felt like, oh, it was like a stab at like, no, that's not what I'm asking for. So when other people have come to me with that, it's been great to kind of support them with that as well and break through that ceiling and look at how they can go from one to many and serve people in different ways with different income streams and do it without burning out, without being overwhelmed and using up all of your time, because there is ways to be productive but still have, I guess we need time for ourselves at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. And yeah, definitely being told to get a job is not the kind of thing you want to hear, is it, when you're trying to grow a
No.
business? That's quite insulting, really, isn't it? But
Yeah, I was
yeah,
shocked to be honest. I just one of the moments you're left speechless.
yeah, absolutely. And for those busy service-based business owners, then what are some of the mistakes that they're making that cause them to kind of remain stuck in that busy cycle?
I think often it's not actually adjusting. A lot of people I work with, like they avoid change. I can be one of those people sometimes, because change is scary, which is why it was such a big decision for me to like change my focus and my niche. And a lot of people are the same. Whereas if actually it creates more freedom, then it's worth doing. So one of the things I would say is review like your whole business, assess it, and adjust as necessary because it's definitely worth doing that. The second thing is they're kind of putting themselves in one box. So only delivering like on a one-to-one basis, for example,
Yeah,
is a massive challenge. I've got a client at the minute who has done that, and she's literally seeing clients in about 10 hours a week, and they're all like running. Some are running over, so there needs to be boundaries in place.
yeah,
And so it presents the challenge of she can't create anything new to bring more income because she's spending so much time with the clients. So that's one of the things is people need to, it's great when you're having success, but we need to prioritize the other essential things in our business or in our life as well. So I always talk about showing up in all areas. And when you say showing up, people think of visibility. But I guess visibility to grow your business, but also, I mean, showing up for like wherever you need to be. So if it needs to be your health because you need to work on your health, whether it needs to be for as a parent because you need to, because the thing is, what I've done is like I've worked on my own. I've got neurodiverse children and I've worked on stuff with them because if not, that will impact my business. Like if I don't
yeah,
set
yeah,
boundaries, they would like there was one point where they would interrupt things like this, like podcasts. I just couldn't sit and do it, so I had to work on the boundaries there. And it's the same in different areas of your life because it impacts your business, but then on your business because it impacts your life as well. So that's definitely something that has made a difference to creating that balance and that flow so that you can have both, I guess, time and money, because that's what people are always wanting, isn't it? Like they want to earn more, they want
yeah,
to get
yeah.
more clients, but then we're also always like, oh, I just don't have enough time. And I catch myself when I say that now because it's now like, no, I'm just prioritizing how I spend that time, and it makes such a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to have a view on the future as well as what is going to be sustainable for you. And I've certainly worked with those clients that are like, oh, I want to get more money, more revenue, as you say. And I say, okay, well, what the ideal scenario would look like? Oh, it'd be like working with, I guess, another two more clients than I've got at the moment. I say, oh, perfect. Actually, I know two more people that would literally be a really good fit for you. Shall I introduce you? Oh, well, actually, no, I'm too busy. I can't do that. And it's just
Yeah.
a sign that they've got a broken model, that they say they want two more clients, but when presented with two more clients, they turn them down because they just haven't got that time management piece dialed in, and they've got no leverage of their time really.
Yeah, it happens. It's more common than you think. Like, I think there's two camps that people sit in. You've got the people watching from the sidelines of other people's success, longing for that same for themselves. But then you've got the people's in that success that are completely burning out. And I want to see more people find that sweet spot and that balance. And it's never perfect. Like I'm always honest about this. It's never ever perfect. Like I feel pretty happy and comfortable in my kind of time management and the way things are balanced right now. However, it's not perfect. I have to deal with like my child melting down and refusing to go into school most days, but it's out of my control. But looking at what we can put, well, to a point, but what we can control
Yeah,
in terms of our time and how we bring clients in and fit them in. And if it's that priority, isn't it? Like if you want to earn more money or you want to help more people, then how do we look at that and adjust to be able to fit them in that scenario?
yeah, absolutely. How are you working towards that goal of impacting, helping more people? Are you actually setting your business up to work that way, or just hoping it happens? And I think we're all guilty of doing that, and like tying our sense of worth and value to how much time we spend doing something rather than the output that's achieved by doing something as well. And I think it's easy to fall into that trap. And I think even just joining the podcast conversation today, like I fell into that trap. It's like, oh, how are you? Good, thanks. Oh, yeah, busy, but everything going well. It's almost like you're supposed to say you're busy because that's a
Yeah,
badge of doing the right thing. Whereas actually, wouldn't it be good to say, well, I've only spent an hour working on my business today, but actually, I got all these
yeah.
great results in that time.
I love that actually because you're so right about that. Because I always do it as well. Like, how are you doing, Danny? I'm doing good. Busy, but like it's a good busy. But like there are like for me, there's been a lot of flow recently, which is really nice. Like I felt like for me that feeling of not feeling like you've worked a lot is amazing.
Yeah,
Because I genuinely feel like I haven't worked a lot recently, but actually when I see how productive and how things have moved forward, it's great. And I want everyone needs to feel that because otherwise, if we're ending the week being burnt out or overworking on the weekends, depends on your schedule. Obviously, some people do work weekends, but if we're burnt out and frustrated over the weekend because we've not got this thing done or we just need to get it, then it's definitely a mindset because I've had to work on that. I'm the sort of person that when I start a task, I need to finish it. I really
yeah,
struggle to not complete. But actually, I need to think about my priority, like with how much I want to spend time with my family, or how much I just want to catch up on that the next series of that Netflix thing that's trending at the moment,
yeah, yeah,
because we need to make time for that downtime as well. And so it's recognizing actually I mean, Netflix and TV is not as important to me, but sometimes it is nice to just have that, or whether it's doing something creative for me, spending time with my husband, and just thinking, yeah, that's actually a priority. So it's not going to hurt to just stop now at a time I said I was going to finish and pick this up tomorrow or whenever that needs to be. And I think that's the biggest challenge in not overworking. But then on the other side of it, it's sometimes people don't action enough. So they do all the planning, but they don't
yeah.
action the things that they need to do because they're like, oh, it's okay, I'll just go watch Netflix. So there needs to be a bit of a boundary somewhere in the middle so we're not like tipping the scales either end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, like taking deliberate action and having focus, is a big part of that. So I think before trying to do more of a task or to optimize a task, it's like, well, is this the right tasks that I need to be doing? And are they the right tasks that I need to be doing right now? Like, we're all bombarded with lots of information. There are lots of different strategies we could execute that are all perfectly possible, have been proven to work for other people, but don't try and do them all, and don't try and do them all at once, or do one for a bit, then switch to another. Like, you just reduce that volume of work and distraction and focus. For me, I think can really help people, manage their time more effectively, what they're choosing to pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely. It makes such a massive difference. And even just like knowing what you're available for as well. I think being mindful of that and your energy as well. Like I know for myself that like I don't usually work afternoons and evenings because I get kind of tired. To be fair, my energy's better these days, I think, since working on my health. But I used
Yeah,
to crash at 2 p.m., for example. So anywhere after that, just been like it just wouldn't happen. But these days, I'm a lot better with that. But I know like a big one for me is working past 3 o'clock on a Friday because
yeah,
there's nothing I love better than picking up the kids and then we put a film on and we have dinner and we watch a movie and have some snacks and treats and stuff. And it's just something I love, and I think I'd love to see more people doing those things they love in their life whilst also having a thriving business. Like it's recognizing that you can have the duality of both. Like you
mm,
can have that flexibility, that freedom, that downtime, and the the income coming in, the new clients, the whatever that needs to look like, or what people consider success in their business. But I think it comes without saying that you have to be organized to make that happen. This is what I'm hugely passionate about is if we plan, we prepare as much as we can, but also know there's
yeah,
going to be curveballs as well. It does make a massive difference.
yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of that, I personally think, I don't know what you think, can come from like a cultural thing of how people are brought up to think about, work and careers,
Mm,
and a lot of it is almost deferring those, like not deferring all enjoyment, but deferring many aspects of getting, what you want. Like, you work hard, pay into a pension so you can eventually retire and get all of these benefits. You work, like all hours Monday to Friday, so at the weekend you get a little bit of time back. There are lots of different kind of structures and ways of thinking in
yeah.
place that are all about deferring those things rather than actually trying to, take charge and, for any business owner, get that flexibility that they're seeking. But, you don't have to defer everything until after you get to the next milestone, because there'll always be another milestone, won't there?
Yeah, there will be. There's always something. Like I said to someone today about like to-do lists. There's always something on a to-do list. Always, like even
Yeah,
when you can't think of anything. So some people say, I've tried everything, to get sales or whatever it is, and to lose weight or, any situation, any goal. But reality is we've never tried everything. There's always something that we can do more of. And I use myself as an example often with clients or with people I'm talking to about this because they genuinely think they've tried everything. And I'm like, I could sit here and say that, but I know that I haven't tried. Well, one of them I usually say is SEO, but I've actually hired someone for that now. But
yeah,
another one is like TikTok. I've not gone into that, or LinkedIn, and I would like to, but then they're just two parts of everything that I haven't tried because it's just impossible to do all of the things that can contribute to your business growth or to whatever goal you're working towards. So it's recognizing that, and I guess making the decision on choosing what you want to try. So, for
yeah,
example, myself, I could try LinkedIn, I could try TikTok, but TikTok just confuses me. I don't know how to work it.
yeah,
And then like LinkedIn, I just don't know how to work it because I feel like it's very different to social media like Facebook and stuff. So I stay where I'm comfortable, but sometimes coming out of that comfort zone makes a difference. But it's prioritizing, actually, I'm going to stay on Instagram and Facebook for now, and that's how I'm going to grow my business. And yeah, just making that choice on where you put your time so that you don't overwhelm yourself, but also recognizing when it is good to put new things into practice as well.
yeah, absolutely. And I liked what you were saying there about, you know, SEO, and now you've hired someone to do that as well. Like, you don't have to try and cover all of the bases with you doing all of the work. Like, as a business owner,
Yeah,
you, especially at the beginning, you have to be, wearing all of those hats, doing a lot of those activities, but don't spread yourself too thin, right? Find one thing that works, keep looking for the one thing that gets you to a certain level, and then, leverage other people's time, because that's probably not the most valuable use of your time at that point in your business to then be chasing all these other things. You're much better off getting someone that's got that experience already and just plugging them into what already works for you.
absolutely. Whether you learn it from someone or you get to them to do it for you. I think a lot of people worry about that, like financial costs, but there's probably someone out there that's within your budget. The girl I use is amazing. Well, we've just started actually, but her prices are amazing, and it was just a no-brainer because if I do it myself, that she's the expert.
Yeah.
She's a really good expert as well. So before, like most of us, before she was self-employed doing it, she did it in her employed job. So like she's got that skill that I don't have, and I've actually tried to learn it. And this is the thing, but I
Yeah.
find it so boring, and so it would take me twice as long if I'm not enjoying it. So it was a choice to outsource it and fund someone else doing it because it gave me back. Like I can't remember how many hours she does. But I know that the previous girl I had was doing like 8 hours a month for me in tech stuff. And
Yeah.
that, for example, gave me 8 hours of time back when you look at it like that. And she was faster than me. So actually, it probably gave me more time back because she would do things way faster than me. So there was definitely a huge advantage of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they know what's possible. They've done it before time and time again. They've got the skills, but they've also got the years of experience to know to avoid the mistakes and to know what works as well, don't they? So it's a massive,
Yeah.
you know, acceleration compared to you trying to do all of that starting from scratch, basically.
Yeah, definitely. It's always saying, don't they? Everybody says always go to the person that's like one step ahead of you, and I kind of done that, but just outsourced it, and it definitely makes a difference. Makes it easier, and again, coming back to time, it gives you that time back.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And for your own kind of coaching experience then in terms of kind of marketing, selling your coaching services or working with clients as well, what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way for delivering that coaching work?
Oh, for delivering it, I guess one big thing is to work on your leadership because when you are essentially supporting people in different kinds of ways, whether it's one-to-one group coaching, masterminding, memberships, I've done pretty much all of those now. Um, it's challenging to work with different personalities, different communication styles, different people, different backgrounds. But it's fun as well because you get to learn a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think the best thing to do is to kind of step into working on your leadership. So working on things like communication, working on things like your time management, working on things not even just in a coaching business though, like in any business, because one thing I've recognized is has had I have had these skills earlier on, it would have been a lot easier to manage some challenging situations or things that were unexpected because you'd always recognize it as a possibility and know how to communicate in those times and set yourself up for overcoming things, I think. So
yeah, yeah,
it's definitely that leadership piece and being open, being honest. I'm hugely for being honest. It's a massive value of mine. Being authentic. And I actually had an interesting question with a friend in business yesterday and says, is anyone truly authentic though? Because I think we do still hide parts of us that we're not wanting to share or be open and raw because nobody wants to see the negative stuff on social media, do they? So,
yeah, yeah,
as much as we can and feel comfortable with, like, be authentic. And I think it goes a long way, especially these days, because people are starting to be more savvy when they're investing in coaches, mentors, and or buying things online. They're a lot more savvy now because there's a lot more awareness of marketing techniques and how things work. Like
yeah,
at one point, everybody was doing 5 day challenges, now everybody knows that you're going to be selling as part of that, so they're aware of it. So they kind of know what your sales tactics are,
yeah, yeah.
and so they're kind of prepared for that. So I think you've got to think outside the box when it comes to communicating with your people that you want to work with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it, ultimately comes down to some of the things you were talking about earlier, right? Of that alignment piece and
Yeah,
just really kind of leaning into delivering value. And as you found, like, just genuinely like sharing those lessons learned in things like the networking groups, etc. Right? That's just a clear way to share value with no expectation of return, but just to really lean into showing how you can help people, some of the lessons that you've learned that help people as well. I just don't feel like you have to hold yourself back from that. I think is important.
yeah, definitely. Like sometimes people fear giving away too much,
Yeah,
but you can never give away too much realistically because someone comes to work with you for that personal aspect that you can help them with. So I could go and put out as many tips as I possibly want around business organization, but at the end of the day, everybody's situation is unique. Especially like time management. I always think of this. Um, a lot of mentors recommend time blocking, but I
Yeah,
came to realize that it doesn't work for everybody. So that could be one aspect, like someone who it doesn't work for, watching you say time block, do time blocking, and they're trying and it's just not working, they get even more frustrated. So when they actually then speak to you and work with you and you find an alternative solution, then they're going to get the result that they desire. And that's where the personalized aspect of it comes in handy. So as much as you can share for free and deliver value, it's never going to be enough compared
yeah,
to
yeah.
what you can deliver behind the scenes.
Absolutely, and it's just a really good way to build that trust and authority with them, that they get to know a bit more about how you work with people, what you're about, and if you're able to demonstrate that authority, then they're going to come to you if they're looking for that extra level of support, aren't they? It's the natural place for them to go to.
Yeah, definitely. Because they see you like knowing what you're talking about as the expert, and especially if you're quite engaged as well, it does make a difference because people are there for you if you're there for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, like you say, don't be afraid of putting too much out there. And related to that, so you mentioned the book earlier. I always think it's interesting. There's a lot of people kind of in the coaching space putting books out there. But how did you kind of put together your book? What is that about, and how do you see that kind of fitting into that general bigger picture of how you engage with people and work with them?
I love that. You're so right though, because there is a lot of people that are publishing books. It's become like a business thing to do on the list, like bucket list of business
Yeah,
tasks.
yeah,
For me, I've always wanted to be an author though, since I was 6 year old and could write. I just never knew that it would be a business book.
yeah,
Um, and I mean, I will do non-business ones as well eventually, but for me, it's going to be the missing piece for people who potentially want to work with someone like me, want to get organized, want to get their fundamentals in place, like get a solid foundation for the business, that have that accessible. So it's really important to me to put my knowledge, my journey, my story into something so people could see realistically what that looks like.
yeah,
Recently I was talking about my book and my business journey at a networking event, and one of the girls is 5 months into her. She's doing amazing. But she actually said to me, hear me speak, she realized that it's not, she's just seen me, like she's got to know me and I'm already there in her
yeah,
eyes. But then when she's got to know me even more and heard my story, she's realized of what it took to get to where I have. And I see a popular quote sometimes about like someone's success has 10 years of experience and challenge and all that behind them. And it's so true. And I'm definitely one of those people. I've been
yeah,
in
yeah.
business 11 years now, but it's only in the last 4 or 5 years that I have what I call being successful, where I've earned money, where I've signed clients, where I've been consistent with it. And so people don't always see that. So I talk about that, and it was part of that. I want people to see that reality even more, but also in a way that learns. So I decided to share my story, decided to create like a step by step. It's like a course in a book, but create a step by step, um, with practical actions that they can do. Works on mindset, but also works on strategy and changing things in your business, to build those foundations, whether you're a startup or whether you're already established, because we can always improve. And it takes my unique approach around being organized tied in with it. So it's like a three in one with my story, the organization, and the step by step kind of learning approach. But it's definitely going to be something that creates an impact because it's not going to cost a lot. And I love that I've been able to create that for those people that need it.
No, amazing. I think that sounds like the perfect combination of elements to put into a book, right? I think, don't be afraid of being practical and teaching things, giving people, something they can apply, because, they'll either be able to go away and do it, and then they'll recommend and refer you and spread that message for you. They'll be an
Yeah,
advocate for you, or they'll get into it and then realize, well, actually, that's the right approach for me, but I want some extra help to do that.
yeah.
And, also that storytelling piece is, so important for people to connect with you and engage with you, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And also, in the words of my editor, it builds authority.
Yeah.
So like if anyone's wanting to write a business book, it definitely helps build authority. And I think that's why more people are doing it now. But it was definitely a passion project for me. However, it just signifies that I know what I'm talking about. It's in 40,000 words. It's all there. It's for people to access so that they can then, I guess, get a taster of what I'm about, how I work, how I can help you change things before you dive into like one of my programs or offers or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is good for coaches and mentors and anyone to offer like a little taster.
No, absolutely. It's a very physical, tangible thing as well. That I think, when everything is online and it's, words, information, etc. Yes, you can read books online as well, but I think there is something more, whether you deliver it physically or not. I think it's a packaged item, right? I think it does still hold more value in the minds of the people that consume that.
Yeah, definitely. And the way I've done it as well is like I've given a bonus page, like you can scan a QR code and it takes you to some bonuses related to things that's talked about in the book. My face is all over it, so people will remember me
Yeah,
in my big, bold brand colours as well, so that it can have a lasting impact. So like the aim is to obviously put a stamp on people they won't forget. Some people won't like it because I can't. Not everyone will love me. None of us are lovable to everybody.
yeah.
But hopefully, the people that do get a lot out of it will utilize it and take those actions, and it will change things around for them. I truly hope so. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know another coach that, yeah, has written a number of books now, but I think he said that one of his best clients has never actually paid him any money because it's someone that took the book, was able to execute what was in the book completely
Wow.
themselves, get really good results. But now everybody he speaks to, he credits that success to him and
To
that
the
book, and
boat.
he's got all these referrals coming in saying, "Oh, so and so recommended you," but he's never
Yeah.
worked with them directly, just indirectly through that book.
The same thing though. I read Denise Duffield Thomas's books years ago and I still have them and I love them and I recommend them to my clients because it had such an impact on me. I don't think I've ever paid for anything from her actually,
Mm.
other than her books. But the amount of people I've talked about her books to, and I do know people who have gone and done her boot camp, for example. So yes, I've definitely been part of that process myself. It makes such an impact when people start talking about what you do and how it's helped them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you've got me thinking about whether I should dig into the same, but
Write a
for
book.
now I'll be more focused. But no, it's definitely on the list of things to do for all of those benefits that we've discussed. No, super interesting, and yeah, good luck with kind of getting the book and message out there.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think we covered kind of quite a few, really interesting areas and a lot about your journey. So thank you for sharing that, and definitely some really interesting points on, what it is that you're now kind of focusing on, that organizational element, that time management element as well. But just for any other, coaches, consultants listening, any other service providers, is there any kind of other advice you'd like to leave them with today?
Always make time for yourself and the things that you love because I've not done that in the past and now I've changed that. And I guess work on your health as well. I've been doing that this year and it's made a massive difference to my productivity in my business. Um, and how I feel as well. So my energy is not as low. I mean, I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
definitely look at which aspects of your life need that little bit more attention, and start there.
Amazing. No, I think that's really great advice, and yeah, a great way to leave it. So, Danny, thank you again for a really interesting conversation. Been really great talking to you today.
Thank you.